So he's on our board. We're thrilled that he's up here, and we've asked Representative Geis to introduce our closing speaker, Denise O'Donnell, the director from BJA. So Representative Geis.
Thank you very much, and it is an honor to be with you folks today, and this has been quite an experience. I do want to say that we in North Carolina are extremely happy about the relationship that we developed with the Council of State Government Justice Center, the Pew Center, and the Department of Justice. These folks came in and took a look at North Carolina data, helped us analyze that data, and helped us put together a strong piece of legislation that passed the North Carolina House 112 to 6. It really was 111 to 6. There was a member that failed to vote. He was excited about the legislation, and that was me. But we got that vote in after I was told by the clerk that I failed to vote, and passed the North Carolina Senate 49 to 0. But you know, it wasn't just passing that legislation. What was important was what we're doing today, and that's the implementation of that legislation. And Ms. O'Donnell and the Department of Justice have stepped forward and helped us with some funding that was provided to us for that implementation, and we are thankful for that and very excited about that. Denise O'Donnell was sworn in as Director of the Bureau of Justice Assistance on June 6, 2011. As Director, Ms. O'Donnell oversees BJA's mission to provide leadership and services in grant administration and criminal justice policy development to support local, state, and tribal justice strategies to achieve safer communities. In recent years, Ms. O'Donnell has served as New York State Deputy Secretary for Public Safety, overseeing 11 Homeland Security and Criminal Justice agencies, and as Commissioner of the New York State Division of Criminal Justice Services, the state administrative agency for BJA funds. Ms. O'Donnell also previously served as a federal prosecutor. When she was appointed U.S. Attorney by President Clinton in 1997, Ms. O'Donnell became the first woman ever to hold the position of top federal prosecutor in upstate New York. Would you join with me as we welcome her to the podium?
Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction, and thank you for all hanging with us till the last minute of this event. You know, this really is an unprecedented event in correctional history ever, to have 50 corrections commissioners and leaders and other policymakers from every state, from the Federal Bureau of Prisons, here from DC, and from the Virgin Islands, to come together to collectively address such an important issue as recidivism reduction. It is impossible to sum up the powerful messages that have been shared today in this room and the level of commitment of the leaders that have convened at this summit in just the few minutes I have left today. But there is no doubt that the outcome of this summit will resound in this country for years to come. I want to thank the Council of State Governments Justice Center, the Pew Center of the States, ASCA, and the Public Welfare Foundation for organizing and co-sponsoring this summit with BJA. This event would simply not have happened without their leadership and vision. And nor, I might add, would you have had coffee and lunch without their support. I would be remiss if I did not also acknowledge the strong bipartisan support we've received, which is crystal clear from the program today, from our supporters on the Hill. And finally, I want to recognize each and every one of you for taking the time from your busy schedule, not only to be here, but to be here so engaged and to share your innovative leadership that you bring to your states each and every day with all of us today. After participating and listening to your deliberations today, I am encouraged and excited about the many creative ideas which have surfaced, and very optimistic about our collective ability to meet the challenges which lie ahead. In the words of A.T. Wall, let's bring it on. In her opening remarks, Assistant Attorney General Lori Robinson provided us with the historical context surrounding the current emphasis on recidivism reduction. We have heard about how the term reentry came into our lexicon, and for that we thank visionary leaders like Janet Reno and Lori Robinson and Jeremy Travis and others in this room who really have been doing this work for many, many years. But it was not until the passage of the Second Chance Act in 2008 that we could see tangible evidence that our national corrections policies were shifting from a focus on over-reliance on incarceration to the development of more effective solutions to reduce our prison populations and to improve public safety. It is clear from the discussions today that we all agree that that shift has been a crucial one, and that improving the availability and the effectiveness of evidence-based reentry programs and services like those described so clearly and definitively by Dr. Latessa will have a significant ability or impact on our ability to reduce recidivism. The plans which you develop or expand upon for those of you who already have plans are pivotal to that effort. Our job as federal partners is to support your efforts. There are already ways that we are doing that at BJA. Lori Robinson mentioned two significant ways: Second Chance and Justice Reinvestment. In the first 3 years of its existence, Congress has appropriated $208 million to Second Chance Act programs. In addition to establishing and funding the National Reentry Resource Center, BJA and our sister agency, OJJDP, have made over 370 awards to state, local, and tribal and private not-for-profit organizations under the Second Chance Act. That's the good news. The bad news is that we received over 3,200 applications for those awards, reflecting the very great need that you're all aware of in the field for additional resources to support evidence-based programs and practices. The second initiative I want to highlight is Justice Reinvestment. Justice Reinvestment is a data-driven approach designed to reduce corrections spending and redirect savings to alternative criminal justice strategies aimed at increasing public safety. BJA has a very important partner in the Pew Center on the States. In the early years of Justice Reinvestment, BJA and Pew separately supported justice reinvestment activities. With the launch of the Justice Reinvestment Initiative in 2010, the first time JRI was officially recognized through the appropriations process by Congress, we now have formed a unique partnership where both Pew and BJA support the programs that are participating in the Justice Reinvestment Initiative. To date, under the new JRI initiative, BJA and Pew and our other partners, the Council on State Governments, Urban Institute, VERA, the Center for Effective Public Policy, and the Crime Justice Institute, did I miss anyone? Are actively working on a total of 31 sites, 14 states, and 7 localities that are now participating in JRI. 8 states and 13 localities are in Phase 1. the process of collecting and analyzing data about the drivers of the criminal justice populations and costs, collaborating across party lines to create a support network for the effort, and developing legislative reforms and changes in practice aimed at a more cost-effective criminal justice investment. 6 states and 4 localities have completed this process and are now participating in phase 2, having already passed legislation or developed strategies aimed at reducing costs and generating savings that can be reinvested in community-based or alternative public safety programs. There, we're finally using, I should say, public safety diversion programs. There we are working diversion in. North Carolina is the first JRI state with an approved Phase 2 implementation funding strategy, followed closely by Ohio. While the significant footprint of the current Second Chance and Justice Reinvestment work is large, it is evident from our deliberations today that so much more needs to be done. Your work today has produced many sound suggestions for ways to further reduce recidivism and improve both the quality of and access to evidence-based services and programs. BJA is poised to be your partner as we move forward together in this important work. There are several important opportunities available to those of you who are committed to recidivism reduction in your states and correctional systems, and I want to use our few remaining minutes today to talk about them. This week, in partnership with the National Institute of Justice and the National Institute of Corrections, BJA released a solicitation to fund up to 4 demonstration sites to test a desistance-based reentry model. This demonstration field experiment, DFE, will address an offender's motivation to change as well as criminal thinking, 2 areas highlighted in the video this morning that shows promising and evidence-based results and would benefit from greater research and advancement. Specifically, this DFE will focus on techniques to improve offenders' motivation to change and strategies to alter criminal thinking. We hope your state or department will consider applying for and participating in that study. That effort follows a similar partnership last year between BJA and NIJ to support a rigorous study and evaluation of the Project Hope model, also highlighted in the video, in 4 demonstration sites, which we hope will provide valuable scientific data for the community corrections field on that promising program. Also, in response to the discussion in the panel just previous about the need for promoting programs that allow for innovation, I would be remiss were I not to talk about one of my favorite grant programs at BJA, and that is our Ensuring Innovation Field-Initiated Solicitation, which we again hope to put out to the field. I don't want to raise expectations because it is a very rigorous, competitive solicitation, and we receive many great proposals. But it does allow for innovation from the field, and some of the programs that we've been able to fund, including work by Dr. Faye Taxman at George Mason, is really working on turning the evidence that we already have available into realistic tools that you can implement in your departments. So that is a place where innovation is encouraged at the very highest levels, and I think will benefit all of us in the very important work that we're doing. But those are some of the things that we are doing. We know we really need to look to you for the leadership to move us forward and to provide us with more workable solutions. Despite the financial hurdles that we face, we found 2 exciting ways to support and build on the momentum today in this room. In order to support your efforts flowing from this summit, I'm pleased to report that the leadership of CSG and the National Reentry Resource Center has committed to set aside valuable training and technical assistance resources at the center to provide targeted training and technical assistance specifically to assist you in implementing the action plans you have developed today. In addition, because the core principle behind the Second Chance Act is targeting recidivism reduction, in fiscal year 2012, we at BJA are prepared to use a portion of the valuable and highly sought-after Second Chance Act funding to competitively fund incentive grants in up to 5 states that are willing to boldly commit to the recidivism reduction goals set in their action plans developed today. These funds, in addition to the intensive technical assistance provided by the National Reentry Resource Center, will provide much-needed resources to support both program services and staff. This investment in you speaks volumes about the important role we believe you play in the national recidivism reduction effort. In sum, our collective success in recidivism reduction will hinge on collaborative efforts and the leveraging of scarce resources, the involvement of the private nonprofit sectors, as evidenced by both the support of the Public Welfare Foundation and the Pew Center on the States, is critical to our success. With a great foundation established today, and with all of us, quote, in the spirit of this conference, working together to reach our goals, there is no doubt in my mind that we will succeed. Thank you for the opportunity of addressing you today. Thanks.
Wow, that was big news from the Bureau of Justice Assistance. And first, I want to just thank Denise O'Donnell, the director of BJA. One thing that's great about Director O'Donnell is she is a state person. We know that she's walked in the shoes of so many of you in her previous position, running really the entire public safety apparatus in New York State. And it's really comes through in spades, your commitment to the states and local governments, and to continue that commitment from BJA. So thank you very much in this announcement that BJA is looking to target resources to 5 states that step up in particular is certainly news, I know, to me, and I suspect to everybody in this room. And it's very, very exciting, and I want to just thank everybody at BJA again for that. Thank you. Okay, we're almost there. And I think actually at some point they said the camera was going to come back here to get an audience shot. We're going to timestamp it too at 4:20 p.m. because we sort of have a packed house here still late in the day. We're very grateful. We know how busy you are. I just want to say a few things in closing. The first is I was just thanking Director O'Donnell profusely, but she has, as I know she's the first to say, an amazing team of folks at BJA. And the go-to guy on corrections at BJA, who's our go-to person, who comes from the states as well, who really knows corrections inside and out, and I know he's enormously respected in the corrections field and has a long history working in Kentucky. Dr. Gary Dennis, thank you so much for all that you do in this area. And I know you with your team, Thurston Bryant, and then Ruby Kazelbosh overseeing this whole operation. It's a great group, and you work in close partnership with OJP. You also work in close partnership with other federal agencies. You walk the walk as you talk about collaboration. And I know I mentioned earlier that NIC is here, and there's been lots of questions about, well, what kind of resources, technical assistance can we get? And NIC has really been, you know, the expression, you know, we were singing country before country was cool. That's NIC, right? They've been talking about these issues for a long time. They have been passing out thumb drives that we put together, and they put together, that catalog all some terrific NIC resources. And I know that they have been key in sort of getting us to this place today and continue to stand ready to assist you. So thank you to NIC for being here. Also, we know that there is so much more to be done. It's sort of beyond the audiences that are here today. And I'm so eager to work with our partners in the courts and community corrections and other things to talk about how we can bring those folks together in the same way, to sort of galvanize them in the same way that this group is setting the tone for the country. And so to APPA and to Urban and National Center for State Courts and CJI, CEPP, VEER, all those groups, we're looking forward to working with you sort of on that sort of round 2, if you will. I also want to just thank in particular ASCA, George Camp, Bob May, Lorna, if you wouldn't mind standing up. You all have been instrumental in helping put this together. We're really grateful to you. And as you've seen today, I really serve an extraordinary group of people. They are incredibly supportive. They set for us the direction that we work in. I have an incredible chair that I serve, Representative Pat Colleton, and Vice Chair Tom Stickrath from the Attorney General's office. And you've met many board members during the course of this day, and I'm very grateful to them. But what makes me look good in front of them is an incredible team of staff that I get to work with. You've seen and met Suzanne Brown McBride, our fantastic Deputy Director. Many of you may have not yet met, because he hasn't spoken up here, but he has led one of the breakout sessions, our Director of our National Initiatives Division, David DeMora. We're thrilled for all he's been able to do and lead our work in this area, and he has a fantastic team of people that he works with. You all know Leanne Duran and the amazing things that she does and sort of been guiding our work in reentry, and the person who put in more work than anybody to sort of make this a success, Angel Yarasa, here today, and you all have met him. We're very grateful to David, Angel, Leanne, and then this phenomenal logistics team of Renee Brackett and Elizabeth Dodd, and then we've got just teams of people on justice reinvestment, communications, and government affairs. I can't name them all, but again, I'm just very grateful to all that you do to make us look so good, so thank you. So now, on with those sort of after that 4-hour commercial break, the American Idol sort of results you all were waiting for. A number of you, lots of you, actually texted in responses to the questions that we asked. So now's the time to sort of see some of the results of some of that instant polling. And so I'll ask the first sort of thing to come up. So this is interesting, right? This is the question about setting a goal and what you thought. And you can see that the majority of you thought that setting a goal makes sense. Some of you have goals that you're proceeding with. Lots of you looking into it. So that's an interesting sort of finding, and appreciate sort of the texted response there. If we could go to the next slide. So we asked you what principle is furthest along in your state of these in recidivism reduction. Focusing on higher risk, people answered as the thing that they think they've made the most progress on. Interesting that monitoring quality, a lot of the things I think that Dr. Latessa said resonating with folks. Look at the next slide, though, because it's sort of interesting. This is what's furthest along, focusing on higher risk. What do we need to work on most? Focusing on higher risk. We like to focus on what we do well. It's that positive motivational interviewing. Clearly that's taking hold here. Again, I think that everybody would agree that there's no one of these things that you do to sort of have the result. It's these things in combination. And I think we're seeing that through the diverse, sort of the spread, if you will, of the numbers across those different areas. We also got some additional comments that people texted us in. Issues, a lot of people talking about barriers of getting IDs and Social Security. A lot of folks talking about child support. Other things that were interesting was around mental health and substance abuse and difficulties around information sharing. So I know these are all issues that resonate with you around the room. Remember that the time is not expired to sort of give us survey results. If you still want to text in information, you can. Most importantly, please complete those evaluation forms. We take those incredibly seriously, as I know BJA does. We want to figure out how we can do these things better. They're in your packets. They're those yellow sheets. Please make sure you fill them out. If you can't do it now, fax them into us afterwards. There's staff outside collecting. So what next? What next for the team plans that you all were working on earlier this afternoon? Well, Director O'Donnell said that the National Reentry Resource Center is ready to help. And indeed, we have resources that have been set aside by BJA to assist you, whether it's by phone or whether it's in person or whether it's through different training events. We need to hear from you at the National Reentry Resource Center. How can we be most helpful to you in advancing your plan? We've already heard some of you coming up to us, but know that our job now is to serve you in advancing these goals. So please follow up with us. And this is now the advance warning. Regardless of whether you're following up with us, we're following up with you. We are going to be in touch with each of the reentry coordinators that are here today, and we're going to want to hear So what exactly did you decide about a goal? What did you exactly decide about the elements of your plan? What have you decided about measuring progress? There are no right answers, but we do think all the states would benefit from hearing how people are moving forward coming out of this. So we will be having a 50-state survey that we will be issuing, in which we'll be following up with you, and I look forward again to working with our partners to do that. But there will be follow-up. The success of this event is going to be measured by what comes out of this, not necessarily what happened today. So in closing, what did we accomplish today? Well, first, on the research, right, we heard from Ryan King and Ed Latessa really putting forward in undeniable, very clear ways that we can have an impact on recidivism and what we can do to accomplish that. From the state leaders, we heard this incredible embrace of the research and what needs to be done, and commitments about actually adhering to measurable goals. From the federal side, really exciting stuff. I mean, again, everything's so partisan, so fractured, and yet we heard unanimity from our federal leaders across the aisle. They're taking the politics out of this issue. They're putting the resources into helping us go forward, and they are encouraging us forward. So we've got the research, we've got the state leadership in this room. We also know we need to look at the local governments as well, but the state leaders are here stepping forward, and we have the federal government squarely behind us. So we don't stop here. We don't start here either. What we do is we resume the amazing things that you all have already underway. We know you came here with a lot already happening, and what we hope is that you leave here newly energized about some of the things, newly focused, and knowing that you have allies across the states, and from us at the Council of State Governments Justice Center, and from all of our partners, and from the federal government. I can't thank you enough for traveling as far as you did to come here for a solid day. I hope you all have a safe trip back, and thank you very, very much.